Well, good morning. Hope you're well. Or is it afternoon? It's still morning, before 12 o'clock. I hope you're well. Mr. Simon at Prestige Garden Services. We're currently on site in Horsforth, completing a 2-day garden tidy up where the client, in fact, I'll take you around. The client has got some incredible species of particular plants and also trees. Now, behind me where I'm positioning is a rose climber, and I'm going to come back to that in a minute. But we've got Mike with us over today. He's very, very busy, very happy digging away in the soil here. And we can see now that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 incredible fruit trees which will be pruning out later, and I will probably go live perhaps on Instagram and obviously go through some tips and tricks in respect to how to complete things. Incredible allotment here, which we've obviously tidied up and prepare them for the spring. I'm conscious that weather is turning bad today, and that obviously allows a lot of snow in the ground, and with snow and with frost it's not very advisable to turn things over quite simply because if you're turning over very cold soil on its back, anything below it you're going to kill, because it's very cold, so you freeze it to death. So be mindful of that. Now then, other than that, you've got a lovely little pond in here and some other trees which we're going to cut back basically, but I'm going to explain to you and show you a few particular things. In fact, here's something that's quite interesting. You can see these firs. Now, these are called skyrockets. They're actually an Indian fir, and they've been planted into this lovely, beautiful planter that's made out of brick. But unfortunately, as these grow, the root systems become a little bit difficult in respect to holding on to the strength and supporting their height. So eventually they'll start leaning and curling, falling basically. And once they do that, they've got to be replanted. I can see Sarah Wood watching. Hi Sarah, hope you're well. Good to see you. It was very interesting last time I saw you, so we'll have to hook up again, I'm sure, sometime. Now I'm going to plant you, pardon the pun here, and just give you a couple of tips if you're looking at pruning. Now, first of all, a couple of particular firsts. When you're pruning roses, gloves. You constantly get little thorns in your hands, and you just don't need that. The art of pruning is you don't have to be so scared with regards to roses. Identify which rose it is, and obviously then look it up potentially on the internet in regards to what and how to go approach it. But they're very hardy. This one's doing extremely well. You can see how green the canopy is exactly here where my fingers are, in a dome shape, but you can see it's actually grown outside the trellis. So effectively speaking, it should be behind the trellis. Now at the moment, most important thing we've got is Dettol. Any kind of disinfectant you've got to use. I can't stress it enough. I've sprayed it on my secateurs. In fact, I'm going to spray it again, just very simply. It's just a light covering on both sides, and get that in between the blades. Why? We'll do that also on my secateurs here, because it's quite simply, it's like having it's like me being in a surgery and operating on two particular bodies, effectively skins. If I go in with a scalpel, one skin to another, so if I'm working from a fir tree, Mike's working on some trees at the moment and goes on to a rose, you're passing two particular bacteria from one to another, and that causes disease, infection, and can potentially kill. That's why you'll see a lot of discoloration and certainly issues, certainly within hedges. You may find, certainly on fir trees, very sensitive. But we're working on the rose today, so let me take you a little bit closer and show you what I'm up to. So you can see we've got a lot of rootstocks right down at the bottom here and here and here and here, and it all climbs, and all the green shoots that you see is fresh, brand new growth from the older ones, which obviously are not. You can see the one furthest the back here is very old, and that is a main leader. So as it goes up and through, you can see it's perfectly placed through the trellis there at the back, and then it scales upwards, and it comes back out here, and it goes. It's effectively solidly set in here, but all the growth is now outside the trellis. So over time that will become heavier, and then effectively fall over on itself and create a bit of displacement. So we've got new buds forming here. You can see this, and if you can pick this up on this particular branch here, you've got new buds. And effectively with roses and also apple trees, I'll be covering something later on, probably on Instagram, with apple trees. We can control which way the rose grows quite simply by looking at this bud here. Hopefully you can pick this up here. So you've got a bud pointing towards the floor here, and you've got a bud pointing upwards this way. So if I want this rose to go up or down, I just have to cut just behind the actual bud, and obviously direct then that allows me to direct the actual branch to a new direction. And that's simple method in respect to kind of controlling which way this particular rose climber grows. Now I'm going to give this quite a hardy cut. It's always advisable to probably cut between December and March, where you've got some greenery, it's growing, but also you can give it quite a hard prune, because these will grow a good side of 1 metre to 1.5 metres every single year. So without further ado, I'm going to start cutting into it without it on camera. But there you go, it's a little bit of a tip and a trick from me. I can see Stuart watching. How are you doing, Stuart? Hope you're well, mate. Look forward to speaking to you and seeing you soon. Have a good afternoon. All the best from Simon at Prestige.